Okay, we are back, and today we are looking at Wind and Earth. And starting it off, we have the Legend Aerith. I don't love it. Anybody love it?
No.
It's such a contested name, right?
There are precisely two Aeriths this set, and I am excited about one of them, and it is not this one. I don't think it's bad at all. Like, turning off abilities of something that's pretty key is not terrible. And, like, the fact that this draws a card when she dies, like, again, not terrible. I don't know if this goes in Wind decks. I don't think it does. I don't think it goes in Icewind decks. I don't really know where you're supposed to play this. But
yeah, I think you're exactly right. That the card, every text on this card is relevant, but barring maybe the power, right? But it's fine because it draws a card when it dies, whatever. But it's just, yeah, what deck does this go in? I don't even think the second ability needed to say remove from game to draw a card. Like, it could have just said when it dies, draw a card, and then there could have been like some places where you maybe wanted to play it in like a revival style deck. But yeah, as it stands, just where does it go?
Do you reckon it could be one of those that's being designed to synergize with the other Cat 7 stuff we're getting next set?
quite possibly. There's a surprising lack of rebirth in this set, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next set is very heavily 7 themed as well, isn't it? So, I mean, we'll see where that goes.
And we've seen it before with other categories where they've had to focus over 2 sets to get the things they're missing in between.
Yeah.
Maybe we get things that are missing from cadets, because we have Wind King. I will do all of the Wind cadets here, and we'll do the Legend as well.
Sure.
Look, King's text is good. It's not great, and his mullet has possibly never looked worse. But I'm going to say straight up, I don't think the Wind stuff is good enough at all for you to play Wind in cadets. I don't think you should play 3 element. I think if you're going to play 2, it's probably, you could potentially play Wind Lightning, but it's probably Fire Lightning probably has the strongest stuff. There are, do you know, it all comes down to the fact that like the names you have to be certain backups in ones or the others. So again, the text on this for removal, absolutely fine. We said the same about, was it Jack? We haven't got to that one. Yeah, Jack has a similar sort of thing. It was a fire one, wasn't it, that does a similar thing?
Trey.
Oh yeah, Trey. Yeah.
Yeah, 2K.
And it's putting something to the bottom of the deck is not bad, but having to put Wind in your deck, like, surely if you want to do this in Wind Lightning, oh no, there's a King in Lightning as well.
So the King of Lightning, yeah, which is a 1 CP 9k instead that breaks an attack if you discard 2 cards anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the thing, is like 5 CP 9k, you're expecting something a little more than just deal with a single forward. And then where you got the other one, where you got the Fire King as well, where it's 2 CP 8k, where you get like color fixes as long as you discard a cadet.
Yeah.
And then you've also got the Lightning King, where it's remove 4 characters in your break zone to make him a 1 CP 9k. This is not gonna happen. The other kings are still much better.
I think obviously it probably wants you to not play Lightning with these, because, you know, obviously if names are on the front, they can't be on the back. So you've got 9, and there are 2 other playable cards called 9. The best one is our spoiler from Opus 21, the Lightning one that doles in either player's turn. Really, really solid card. With the Ace, literally, it's so hard to get around those 2. You also have the Fire Lightning one, which you can dole 2 Class 0 cadet forwards and that he will just kill something, and he's massive. And like, what does this do? Just give something 1k first strike that's attacking. Like, it's of all the cards called 9, it is certainly one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, giving something a K and first strike while attacking reads very much like an Opus 2 or 3 card. To me, you know, this is not, you know, We're well past that in the game.
Then we have Queen, which is like there's a lot of good Queen cards. And this one is really good too. But is it enough to play Wind? Activating 2 backups. But they have to be cadet backups as well. So like it means you are committing to having their names on the back row. But activating 2 backups for nothing once per turn. Very, very good. Very, very solid. And then like just paying 2 to remove 2 cards in your opponent's break zone as well. Like, man, what a really solid card. But I do you know what? If anybody has got this sorted, like please let us know, because I think
the reason why this card is possibly playable is because of the new 7 backup that we'll get to eventually. I've got quite a bit to say on that 7 backup, so I'll leave it until we get there. But I think this has a place because of that card when we get to it. But it just sucks that it's called Queen, because the last Queen we had, the lightning one in Opus 23, which is, remove 3 from your break zone to then give a cadet 2k and negates the next ability damage. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
It's just, the name clash here really sucks. Like, if this card here was King's Tex and vice versa, then absolutely phenomenal. But unfortunately, that isn't the case.
Then there's Kata, which is Elza for cadets. Which again, this is really good. If you're playing Fire Lightning, jam some of these in there, because this is really, really good. So even just as an EX burst, I would probably just put this in the deck. But still, oh man, couldn't she have been the fire card?
We're already denied a good searcher / color fix, so the last thing we want is consistency among 2 colors.
Yeah. Maybe I am barking up the wrong tree. Maybe it is you have to do Wind Lightning with some of these and just accept the name loss. Because again, I suppose that means you can still play the Fire King, because that's just discard 1 cadet. And it means that you're definitely just using the Lightning Ace and not worrying about too much else. So maybe that is the way to go with it. But the fire stuff is good, and the Ace is good in this as well. So, but there's just no backup support for Fire Wind on it. We have, we'll build straight into the Legend Rem. Really, really interesting card. When she enters the field, you may pay X. When you do, you can search for 1 job class 0 cadet of cost X other than card name Rem and play it onto the field. Solid. Look, getting backups out of the deck, really good. I suppose you could color fix into fire with this, but that's assuming you haven't drawn the fire backup, right?
Yeah.
I think this is really quite an exciting card for class 0s. I mean, getting a legend for a start that isn't Ace is quite significant. But the fact it can playing from deck is always something you want to really look at carefully, because there's such mad potential for extra consistency and unusual color combinations and things like that. I mean, I think if you are going to go triple color, this is going to be your main facilitator. I mean, there's the Wind, was it Moogle Type 0 from the Type 0 structure deck?
Yeah.
That has never seen any other reprint. That, you get that out, you get that online, and then, you're able to go with that into whatever color backup you need.
Oh, no,
I think
the Moogle is a +1k for cadets.
Oh, it is +1k. I thought it was a searcher.
No, it's only a resale Russia.
I think the Moogle also isn't a class 0 cadet, right? So,
no, it isn't.
Yeah. I think for me, I really want to like this card. Really, really do. But I think there's a few, and by a few, I mean a few too many things that I have problems with. I think for a start, double Wens are always going to be very, very sad to pay 4 CP for this to try and hit say the new sync backup, right? And then your opponent's like, oh, okay, after you pay the 4, Amaterasu.
Well,
right?
do you know? I will say I play a lot of the of Grahatia, so it's not debilitating, to be honest. So I think maybe I am talking myself more and more into playing Wind Lightning with this.
I think as well, though, it's when it enters and does its thing, it kind of just sits there. Like I think the second ability is very nice that it can activate backups. Don't get me wrong, it can like unfreeze them, but I don't feel like this is. I think this is it's a very good hero, but as a legend slot, I think it's a little bit interesting lacking to have been put there. Yeah.
It surprises me we didn't get a Machina as a search target for this.
Well, I mean, again, regardless, the fire backup is always going to cost 1 off of this. So
that is true. That's actually pretty good.
That's a point I didn't think of. Yeah, you can always pay 1 to get a fire backup.
But like it will always cost 1, which obviously the Machina backup itself in your hand does not always cost 1. So you know.
No, I like that.
Maybe we'll play with it. We'll see. And if anyone's got a really cool build with it, show us. But maybe it's finally the Wind Lightning deck that people have been waiting for.
It's a shame that we have already 2 very good Rems, though. The forward that you can discard to search, which is one of the very few searches for class 0 cadets we have. And then the other one being the backup, which grabs you one back from the bin, I think it is. Like 2 very solid Rems. Both have EX burst, but this one doesn't. So, yeah. It's just so frustrating how almost phenomenal this card is, but I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe it is what we needed.
Next up is the card that's been memed to death already, and I'm sick of seeing, is Gubu. Look, it's another one of these monsters. Discard a win card to say that your forward gains cannot be chosen by abilities. Maybe this is good in win decks. And when you break him, he cannot be opposed. Something cannot be chosen by a summon, or opponent summons as well. That's good. So, look, maybe it's good. I don't know. Some people seem to really like it. Maybe some people are just memeing it too hard. It does the 2 things that it says it does, and those are wind effects. So, like, you know, you got Rosa for that sort of thing. Look, it's fine. Anybody think they're going to be playing it?
It's very, for me, reminiscent of one of my favourite monsters and probably cards in this game, which was Unsuganashi. Oh, yeah, Ran, mate. Oh, that card. Now, do you remember Unsuganashi from Opus 10?
How could I forget?
Little spooky boy. I love that card because I love playing King of the Hill style decks where it's just you set up an Unsuganashi, it sits there. You don't mind if you just literally spend your entire time playing that thing because you know eventually you're going to play a big threatening body, usually in the shape of a incredibly large potato called Shantoto, and then when that comes down, then your opponent's like, I can't touch this thing, right? And this is a very, very similar card to that. Obviously, the difference being in Sukanashi, you just sack it off, and then it gets both effects by being unable to be targeted by summons and abilities. But this one you can kind of keep doing as long as you got the win card in hand. And obviously, being untargeted by either abilities or summons is always going to be relevant in this game, right? For as long as this game prints cards, there's going to be a card which targets something. So I think this has the potential in some kind of King of the Hill, or not even necessarily King of the Hill, but a deck where you need a forward to live, because it does say discard 1 wind card, but the forward you choose doesn't have to be wind. So I feel like there is somewhere where this could definitely fit in, and I love the remnants to Unsuganashi. Discarding a wind card every single time you want to make something untargetable isn't, sounds scary, but if you're keeping a 6 CP forward alive by spending 2 CP, that's fine.
Yeah. It's toolboxy as hell, isn't it? Like, it's going to go in very specific decks, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to ram this in any specific any random deck that plays wind or monsters. Like, you know, you're probably not going to want to play this other realm realistically. So yeah, no, it's cool. I like the card.
Next up, we have Chocobo Chick 7 with his massive head. So a 3 CP summon, not a 4 CP summon this time, which you can remove 1 win back up to reduce the cost by 2. And you may deal 2,000 damage to all forward your opponent controls. Then you may play 1 forward of cost 2 or less from your hand to the field. So it doesn't even say wind forward, so you can play anything. Yeah. So, wow, I mean, like, even Fire Wind Zidane in mono wind. Ugh, crazy. Lot of potential with this one. I'm not really sure, by doing a 2k board wipe and to board, I'm not really quite sure where they're going with that. But interesting. I'm not really, I think it's fine. I'm not really sure that most win decks as we know them can afford to play a card like this, but
I think the 2k AoE damage is clearly to set up your damaged forward triggers in Wind Lightning.
Yeah, potentially.
You Ewan. You play this into a Ewan. That's kill something on your opponent's turn for 1 CP. Oh, broken, mate.
Yeah. No, well, it doesn't. It increases the cost of this by 2, doesn't it? So
you do it in your opponent's turn, and you get the guaranteed kill.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, right?
It's not the worst line of these summons, I think.
Next up is of all things a card called Zidane. Look at his job, talentless member. It's a shame he's the only one.
Talentless member. Well, not quite 5th, but I keep getting talentless members.
One day we're gonna get them.
We'll get a searcher, and then you've got a backup to search off of it, and then you're going to be loving life.
The effect is good. It's sort of just like Kate Sith with like extra steps. But it's called Zidane, and it's probably not going to see play, right, boys?
It should.
I'm afraid not.
CP if it needed to cost 2 CP if it wanted to see play. You're not paying 3 CP on a backup that isn't netting you any value back.
Yeah. Well, netting value back is something that Sid Highwind does.
Oh my giddy ass! Yes, indeed.
5
What
CP.
were we saying about searching for two cards?
Well, yeah, exactly. In the vein of, thank God he's in Wind, where it's not massively relevant. Well, it could be still, but yeah. Just like Sarah FFL, so that he can search for 2 category 7 forwards and add them to the hand, and has a damage 5 break, which is play a 5 cost or less from your hand to the field. Like, it's crazy. I love the idea that immediately, because of like Wind and 7, what I thought of was search for the Yuffie Legend and another copy of Yuffie, so that next turn you can guarantee doing Doom of the Living. Like, that's exactly what you would do with Gigglewall, but get the thing and its S, right? And yeah, that's definitely what it says it does, right?
Yeah, this card is scary with the amount of really good targets it has. Especially considering a lot of those new targets play you the backups.
Well, no.
The Cloud and the Barret we're going to come to can both put you into...
I'm just confused as to why this costs 5 though, and like every other thing that searches 2 cards costs 6.
Because its tap effect is a damage trigger, it doesn't just have it. I assume is the reason.
Oh, maybe. Oh my god, yeah, maybe.
Because all the other ones actually just have a tap effect.
Oh, is that how they
Or at least
value
to my
that?
knowledge.
That's...
To my knowledge, they do. Because who are the other ones? It's Cindy, Sarah FFL, and is there another one?
Oh, I'm not even sure. I know it's definitely those 2 at least, but
because Sarah FFL can obviously activate something, and then Cindy can give a forward brave and 1k, or all your Cat 15 forwards brave and 2k. So maybe it is because
he's not searchable, which is the only thing, because he's not even an engineer; he's a pilot. So
yeah,
you know, hard one to really pass by that. But I can. This is one of those, another one of those. I think get your foils, because you never know with a card like this. Well, I mean, again, searchable with
Not that
light cloud.
fantastic, right?
I was gonna say, is there any generic search in Cat 7 other than that?
Not for backups, no.
Okay.
Well, even still, like if you want this, like you can go. Again, we keep talking about him, but Barrett into Jesse into light cloud into this. So like you can still. There's still ways around with things like this. But yeah, lots of toolboxing stuff you can do. Like it good card. Will whether it will see competitive play or not, I'm not sure, but definitely one to keep in mind. If warp's ever a thing, Theodore will be a thing, right? It's look, there's no
Job
good card.
prints.
There's job prints. There's no good card called Theodore. It's in warp colors, and on entry, at least it doesn't say when he warps in as well. When he enters, he gets a warp back from the break zone. That's pretty good way of recycling Tiduses or Theodores or something like that, right? So, yeah, not terrible.
We were saying about the 54 deck earlier with the what's his name? Was it Kurosame?
Kurosame.
Yeah, it's very similar to what he does, right? Just specifically warp cards. It's interesting that it says warp card, considering we've only ever had warp forward. So maybe there's something to look into that, but probably not.
Future-proofing.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's the same way the LBE rules say summon, despite the fact we haven't had one yet. I'm glad it doesn't only recur if you warp it in. I mean, you don't really want to pay 5 for it, but it's not one of those.
Yeah.
You have to warp it.
Vein stock's going up. Vein stock's going up.
I've got 2 full arts now.
I've got one. Right, yeah. So after that we have Chocobo. It's definitely a Chocobo.
Everybody
CP3K.
loved it until they read the second line.
Yeah, exactly. So look, anything can ride on him, and then when he's forming a party and put from the break zone, you may search for one card and Chocobo character cost 2 and play it onto the field. Look, cool. On death, I suppose it can play Chocolate from deck. Oh no, card name Chocobo
It
character.
says card name.
But there still are Chocobo backups, right? So it still can play backups.
Yeah.
It's just it's slow and it's not going to, right?
It can't play Boca either.
Yeah, right. Shit card.
There would have been no harm for this to say card or job, I don't think.
Especially when it's put from the field with a break in as well.
Skipping over Barbaricia, we're gonna go for the Mandragoras. Yeah, I think this is terrible. I think it's terrible.
I really like it.
It's a 1 CP monster, cool. A 3 cost transformer? No, mate.
If it's either a reliable point of damage or it's killing at least one thing.
It's a very good blocker, I think. You can very reliably get this into a block and kill 2 things.
If you spend 3 CP on like activating this, you deserve your kill. But it did cost you 4 CP in a card, so that's a big no from me. What is not a big no from me is the final wind card we'll be looking at, which is Yuffie. Man, I think this is really good. I really like this.
I had to look at this card several times. I was like, am I going crazy here, or is this card really good?
Yeah.
Like, I kept on looking at it like, no, it's just a common. It can't be that good. Like, every single time I looked at it, I was like, nah, because like with Godo, right? This is a 9k haste first strike
minimum,
right? That's good.
So for the benefit of the uneducated like me, what does Godo do?
First strike.
It just gives
he gives Yuffie 1k by standard, but you can also just dull him to give a Yuffie first strike.
Right, okay, cool.
It brings her up to 5k, and then the 4k ping and the first strike. Yeah, you got it for a 2k forward with haste. That's really not awful.
It's like the second turn she's out doing this. Like, what can block her at that point? if it doesn't have first strike, that's 12k damage.
Nothing.
Well, dies to Warrior of Light, obviously, but like,
Well, yeah.
you don't mind just jamming this turn 1, right? You just keep
Oh
going.
no! Point of damage and stacking her up.
And for our man Paul Fallon, what can this do? What with one of your favorite backups? What can this do?
This is what I was going to say. I'll leave it to Fallon.
Yeah. No, it combos very nicely with Cisne for the Shuriken counter synergy.
You're not going to do that, but it's nice that you can. Like,
it's nice that you can, right?
Just generating that turn after turn, so freeze. I think that's so cool. But yeah, look, this thing's this thing's really cool. Like, the auto ability means that like you must do this with all of them. It's not a like May or anything like that. Look, 4K super weak, but it sort of has to be 4K because the effect is really strong. Like, I love this, and I think even if you're going to try and play ninjas for some reason, this is probably the other Yuffie you play now. So
I was going to say this replaces the 1-cost unblockable Yuffie that people used to play as S-Effect fodder.
Yeah.
You would play generally 3 of the 5 costs and then 2 or 3 of the other Yuffie just for S-Effects. But this one at the very least has haste, so it actually can be quite playable.
Like, jam it turn 1 and just your opponent has to kill this thing. Like, no.
Yeah, what are they going to waste a summon on their first starting hand to kill it?
Moving into Earth, we have Ursula. Look, if you're gonna have a card named Ursula, like, you really have to replace the Opus 11 Legend now. Like, that card is locally still really proving itself set by set with our man Fish and what he's built out of that monster of a card. So, like, if you're gonna replace Ursula, then it needs to monks need to go in a new direction to be a new deck, and this isn't doing that. So it's just an L3 thing for monks, right? That's all this is.
It's crazy because this is such a phenomenal target for Ursula. Like,
it's crazy how good it is.
Screw it. If this was even card named Prish, like, it wouldn't be the Prish I'd want, but at least it would slot in very nicely into the monk deck, being able to resurrect it with an Ursula to get the search off. But that's pretty much it, right? That you're playing resurrection effects for in monks. No other way really you're going to get that first effect off, but like, they really just wanted to screw with monk players by calling this Ursula. That's basically all there is to it.
Do you know what? We'll keep on monks though with the legend. So with the legend we have Wall. Interesting card. Don't know quite how to feel about it, but at least in monk decks, it's not a contested name whatsoever. It's got plenty of great text, but I don't know. Anybody got strong feelings on this one?
I'm very excited for this card. I'm going to have a lot of fun playing around with this. I think the obvious place for this is in monks anyway, because kind of outside of the monks you've got, not a lot of what is in your break zone is what you care too much about. So I think, removing the 3 Earth cards to basically do Opus on Titan effect doesn't say you can only do it a limited number of times a turn. It doesn't have any restrictions on that first ability apart from remove 3 Earth cards from your break zone from the game. You can do this in response to Mist Dragons. It's just very good, I would say. S effect as well, not even like irrelevant either. Like, you play 3 of these guys, then if you find another one, sure, S effect, and then you're basically guaranteed to not whiff it because it's 3 cards. Doesn't say 3 Earth cards, doesn't say 3, just cards. And as you choose obviously 2 that can't be Wall, but if you've got 1 on the field, 1 you're S effecting with, you might draw the third one, but that's it, right?
Yeah.
So you're guaranteeing to draw 2 off of this as an S effect.
Yeah.
You hit a Kusith EX burst on your opponent's turn. There's nothing you want to get back. Sure, S effect. Why not draw 2 more cards off of that Kusith EX burst? But yeah, I think the real interesting part is that first line of text, because outside of monks, where obviously what you can do very obviously in monks is with the Ursula, right? Yes, you sack off a monk to make Ursula big, or if Ursula's big anyway, you say Ursula can't be broken for the turn. Boom, get rid of all of your 5 monk backups and deal 9k to 5 things your opponent controls. Just there on the spot, because Ursula doesn't take any of the damage back, right? That on its own, pretty damn good, I would say. You've also then filled your break zone with 5 more earth cards that you can then eventually use for this effect again. But for me, for those who do not know, I had a pet deck which I played for about 5 years in a row, which is with the old Opus 2 6-drop Shantoto forward.
Oh, it's Opus 4, isn't it?
Is it Opus 4?
It is Opus 4, yeah.
I'm going to bring her up.
Prish is Opus 2.
Wrong
that's why I'm getting
size,
confused.
but yeah, that one.
That one, Opus. Yeah, sorry, Prish is Opus 2. That's why I get confused. But yeah, this card deals damage back to everything else when it takes damage. And I love the mind games of basically putting your opponent in an awful situation where they feel like no matter what they do, their board is going to get broken, so they play around it, and then it turns out you have a Titan in hand anyway, so you save your Shantoto, or you have a Hecaton in hand anyway, so you kind of choose what dies and does the AoE damage, right? And this card just means that you basically always have that Titan in hand, right? You can always say, oh, Shantoto takes 20,000 damage. Cool, I don't care, but your entire board is taking 20,000 damage, and you get to keep the Shantoto, and your opponent, who has struggled to try and get rid of that card, doesn't get rid of that card and has to figure out how to do it again, by which point you probably would have drawn another answer. That deck hasn't been very good recently, I will say, but having a constant, reliable way of being able to repeat doing that effect of keeping your Shantoto alive, I am very excited to try and make it work. I don't know if it will work, but God knows I will try my damnedest.
I will say, like, at the least, what this guy does is protection against, like, LB Cloud and Leo.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the name for me, it being WoW and not Warrior of Light.
Yeah.
It's just less competition.
It is also a job Warrior of Light, which
Yes.
potentially isn't irrelevant. Obviously, like, I mean, you got to specifically, like, your very stereotypical Warrior of Light decks where it might be Turbo Barts, or you just run that really comfy backup line with King Tycoon to get you up to your colours. Probably isn't going in that, but this can also very comfortably go in mono Earth Warriors of Light, right? Because then you've got your Earth cards for the remove effects, and it's, you know, going to keep your actual Warrior of Light alive. And yeah, I think can very, very comfortably fit in that deck.
No,
Very good card.
Lots to like on this card. There's a lot of potential synergies and very easy to spot synergies, and some not so easy to spot as well. You know, I think this is, maybe we should have got Fish in just for this card to review.
This is the Earth Legend I've been hoping for the last, 6-7 sets, where we've just had generic legend after generic legends where it's search for a random thing, or here's a board wipe card. You know, it's been so boring for so long, and this card finally gets me excited. So,
You'll take your searchers that get cheaper and you'll like it.
Next up we have Atomos, which is the summon from this thing where you can remove an earth back to make it cheaper, which it deals 1,000 damage for each card in your break zone, which if you're playing WoW, aren't in there.
It's not me, right? This just isn't good.
It is good. It's not great.
It's not Fenrir bad, but
It is better than Fenrir, I'll give you that, yeah.
As far as bars go, that's quite a low one. But
I love the artwork on it, but I don't see how this ever goes in a summon slot in a deck.
No, not at all. In like limited formats, L3, L6, like quite possibly, but like in standard, no chance whatsoever. Speaking of bad cards, we've got Vincent.
oh yeah,
What do you mean? This card's great.
Do you know what? I don't think 2CP 5k first strike is bad. I don't think him gaining 4,000 power on attack is particularly bad. I think spending 7 to kill something is bad.
on attack.
Yeah.
He's got first strike. He works with Sephiroth.
Do you know
Oh
what?
wait, that's redeemed it.
Not terrible.
That effect must have said something else, right? For it to cost 7.
Does anyone remember Opus 1 Garland, perchance?
No.
5 CP Brave 8k when it attacks, gain 4k power.
That was like a hero as well, wasn't it? Like,
That was a hero. That card was insanely good back in Opus 1. But it's just not it.
he dies to all removal. There you go. Like in pre-release this weekend, he's probably going to be pretty cool. That is the only time he will see the inside of his sleeve.
Can we make sure we track how many times between everybody the pay 7 effect is used?
Oh, definitely. 100%.
I want to know.
Where at? This is one of the least interesting of this cycle of monsters. Discard nerf card gains 1,000 power. Like, you'd want 3,000 power for that, right? The wind one turns off ability target. Like,
well, the fire one deals 5k damage.
Yeah.
You're
The ice card
trading a discard for 5k damage or 1k power. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
If there was a full Fallon seal of disapproval,
Yeah.
I think we got it right here. This is absolutely the worst card in the set.
Cutter, the other monster. So when Cutter enters the field, you may pay XX, and when you do so, choose one dull forward of cost X, and choose X dull forwards, break them. Oh wow! And then he can transform for 1 Earth CP into an 8k. Look, for limited stuff, sure, right? But standard, probably not. You know, if you
it is worth pointing out, because I've seen a bit of discussion about this online. The XX cost, if you want to just break 1 forward, you are allowed to discard 1 card to pay X and then X for 1, then 1, using just 1 card from hand. Just in case anyone was unsure whether that was the case, that has come up a few times I've seen. But for pre-release, this is absolutely going to be a mainstay. But main standard, not so much.
I kind of don't hate it, to be honest. It's quite versatile, but the 3 CP initial payment is quite a lot. Like, if this was a 2 CP 6k that had the same effect, then I would probably be all over it. But yeah, 3 CP is a lot.
I don't think it would kill this to say monsters as well.
Yeah.
I think that's the point we're kind of coming to with this game of, like, everything that breaks a forward, it's always a case now of, like, could it just say monster as well?
That's how good monsters are now, right?
Yeah, I know.
Ice cards say Dollar Free's a character, like, we just need more things to say, monsters.
Forward or monster, please. You know, that's not a groundbreaking line of text.
Next up, we have the 3 CP backup, and it's not called Monk, so Fish doesn't want to know about it. The text is pretty good. I don't hate this at all. Like killing a small guy, or a 3 CP guy-ish, right? So that's not terrible. But in Monks, if this was called Monk, insane. It's not.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Kate Sith, which is Edgar again. Slightly worse Edgar, but still pretty good.
it's got that, it's got the first line of text, which is the same as Edgar, but I mean, it's Edgar, but available now to a different group of colors. I mean, fire could be easily searched by the water or the earth backups. Now this is earth lightning, yet another earth lightning backup into backup synergy. I don't know. I think there will be a place for this card.
Reeve Kate Sif Vincent sounds pretty horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, this Vincent. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that
Also
Kate
takes
can
the
play you the Vincent if it's in hand as well.
Yeah.
Not too much to say, because obviously we know what Edgar does. Obviously, Edgar has the thing of like playing a 2CP guy at summon speed, which this doesn't have. But recursion is always good as well, right? So, not terrible whatsoever. I think this is definitely a card that could see play. The next one, well, we've got General, and people seem to be really divided on this one. Personally, I don't think so. I don't think this is the warrior support you were looking for, right?
No,
It's I agree with the diversive comment. I've heard so much good and so much bad, thrown about this card, and I personally cannot figure it out myself. I think I need to play the card to know. But it's a relevant EX burst, I'll say that much. It can cost 2 CP with the Volker, but would you rather pay 2 CP for this or 2 CP for Tivus? The protection against summons is pretty good. But
Death
why is it?
though,
But why does it? But yeah, why has it got protection if it wants to die?
I'm assuming that the main thought process behind the people that think is good, and I've ammed on it based on who I've spoken to, is I think it's mainly just because it says EX on it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're playing Fire Earth Warriors, anytime you draw this, you're just going to discard it. Or 9 times out of 10, you're just going to discard this. But those times where it goes to damage can be enough to really swing that game.
No, I don't disagree.
Really have much recursion. Or is there any recursion in Warriors, really? Other than like the selfie backup?
If they're playing Earth, like, yes. But
you're in Earth now for Warriors, so.
Not too much to say other than I think I'd like to see, prove us wrong on that one. Look, it could be worse. It could be like an 8K or something like that, but it does have EX burst. It does have 9K. It does have Brave, so not terrible, not inconceivable at all. But we'll see with this one.
Relevant text.
Sophie. Not really too sure what to think on this one. Anyone got any thoughts here?
It's not the Sophie we were looking for, I don't think.
No, it's not. But I mean, paying 4 CP and then getting 4 CP back is something, I guess. I mean, it's just, unlike its job, this isn't going to shake any earth anytime soon. This is.
He's back, everybody. He's back.
It is a new job, isn't it? Like, I swear each Sophie keeps getting a different one per print.
Yeah.
Shaker Tribal.
We've had Monk, Wild Rider, Freelancer, and now Earthshaker. All about
We'll soon replace Bart's as the job wanderer.
I mean, you could do something cute with the old Earth Wall, which then plays a Mobius forward, and then this then plays another Mobius forward that costs 3 or less. But with this new wall, I don't see a reason to do that. You double searching the Sophie for the S effects is not great. Like, sure, S Dole for 15k is okay. But if you draw 2 Sophies, cool, you're not going to do that. And then if you don't have a Mobius card in hand, cool, you're not going to do that. So it's both effects being very situational. Just, seems a bit... Maybe if it said play a category Mobius character, then I could see this being played for sure. but it doesn't, so never mind.
Well, Paul, you were big on Mobius Tribal in the past. Does this change much of that?
I've tried it. It's interesting. I think, there are some good Mobius cards and good Mobius synergies. I mean, Earth is the right color for a Mobius deck because you've got that wall Mobius that plays things for free. I don't know, maybe. I mean, we've gotten a lot of Mobius this set. So, I mean, having a look through the card browser later on and filtering Mobius is something I will do and see if there's anything that sort of jumps out at me. But I mean, when we got that Mayor a few sets back, that sort of really inspired me to try it. And that felt okay. I don't know.
The Warring Triad are all still job Mobius,
that's right, yeah. That's what sort of really inspired me to go for it, was seeing all those Warring Triads be Mobius. So it's like, so while playing the Demon for free is scary. Like, this feels great. Or, Yasmat or something equally well overcosted for free. But I don't know, this may, 3 or less doesn't really fit into that plan.
Because it was all big boys, wasn't it? So
yeah, because it was playing extreme. My take on Mobius was to get extra value out of big boys, but we'll see. We'll see what this has to offer. I will be double checking my lists to make sure that there isn't some interesting Mobius synergy, but right now I can't think of anything.
Right. So next up we have Dine. I like Dine, and I will preface this by saying I really like this in terms of commons format. I'm a big fan of commons format. And as a common, a 5 CP 9k, which literally kills anything just for having 5 backups, doesn't say Earth on it, anything like that, and he gets bigger at damage 3. This is a really good common. Look, you're not playing this in standard, but I do think it's good. I do think it's got its place. But that's pretty much all I have on it.
I mean, it's nice to see another new Category 7 name come into the ether. I mean, that's another point.
I was shocked this was the first Dime we've ever had.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, considering how relevant he is, it's like, have we never had one before?
Well, with that then, we'll skip right over to Barret. There we are. Barret is 100% undisputed my favorite card in this set. I absolutely love this thing. When I read it, I couldn't believe it. I think it was absolutely busted. Crazy how much versatility this thing does. It's the ultimate setup card. So, and the fact that it keeps on doing things as well. But so you pay your 6 and you can search for any card named Marlene or Job Avalanche Operative across 4 or less on the field. There's still only one Marlene. The Marlene is the EX, which gets back any Cloud, Barret, Tifa, or Aerith. Not bad, all the same. But by playing one Job Avalanche Operative across 4 or less, I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, do you play this over the Fire Earth Barrets? Well, no, it's completely different. And I think this is the thing that you play the Opus 1 Searcher Jesse. So you turn this into a forward, into a backup, and then search for anything you want to get started on next turn. So if it was like Cloud, if it was Genesis, it was something like that, like any of the lines on that. And then when you are fully set up, it's going to kill something at the beginning of your attack phase every time. Like, man, I love it. Anybody want to talk me down off this high horse?
I don't think so. 2 CP Brave 9k, right?
I mean, the Jesse's just like the perfect target for it, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion,
the fact it's playing it from deck is just it's going to be so hard to answer this.
Yeah.
The text on it, I think, is mostly irrelevant.
It means that you need like 5 backups and 2 forwards, right?
Yeah. Like, if it comes off, great. I don't really think it's going to come off, but you're not playing it for that. It's entirely the case of he's just grabbing you a backup. And if it dies, like, you can now play another one.
Well, exactly.
You've got plenty of targets. But you're probably going to have plenty of targets.
Again, maybe it's like you go this into Jesse into the Legend Zac, and like you play the Earth White Mage to get back your soldier candidates and stuff as well. Like there's loads of stuff you can do. But yeah, he can play this Tifa. This Tifa is not it at all. Not a big fan of this one. But like, is this not going to see constructed play? Which is,
it always hurts when they put out a Rangers Zangan, I think.
Yeah, but you know, Tifa's usually quite a contested name anyway, so it'd have to be like a really good card for you to play a new Tifa. And I think it's only designed to be able to do its damage trigger once, but like again, attacking for 10k, not terrible.
Yeah.
I can see this definitely seeing something in pre-release, but otherwise, probably not, right?
No, this is not the Tifa we were looking for, I'm afraid. You know, I mean, this is shame.
Maybe next set.
Yeah, well, I'll hold out for another. I thought we were going to get a full art Tifa to go in with like the cloud and the baron and everything, but apparently not. But you want absolutely busted though? Let's talk about Riku.
Oh yeah.
As a gold wing, yeah, sure, it's okay. As a warrior, oh my god, literally, are you joking? So for free off of Tyvis, you can play this and then play a 3 cost or less backup in your hand to the field. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to James McNulty, who I think it was Cactamania. He took a Ice, Earth, Fire Warriors deck to like top 4, I want to say. It was really well played, really good to see him do that with something that nobody else was trying, and he did it really well. This is just another nightmare card to make this deck appear in a lot more people's minds. You know, this is going to be... Yeah, this has got really crazy potential. The fact that the backup isn't color locked at all, it's 3 or less. You know, if you don't happen to have a 3-drop searcher backup, you can play any backup. You know, I think this is a very scary card.
I think in a way as well, it's designed to be played with the Legend Tidus, so that obviously you bounce a backup with Tidus, and then you play this and the backup that you bounced. So that's like, and that's also going to kill something as well for a -8k.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible thing to do off the Una, but man.
Yeah, this card's going to generate some value.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And again,
I think it's definitely up with like Mog 6 and that. Like, it's just.
Plus, the thing with Warriors, it's like as soon as you play Tyvus, you've got all of these options now. You've got so many tech options of what you're playing against. Do I want to ramp a backup? Do I want to deny a search?
This is what I was saying earlier with the Volker Legend now, is that you just have the options, because like before, realistically, the only thing you could really do with the Tyvus was play the Mog 6, get an Axe Star out, sure, that's good. Some people played the Red 13 backup as a backup they can get off of it, but that was still fire, searching fire. It wasn't, anything phenomenal. But now we've got the Riku, we've got a lot more options in fire. There's also the Cloud backup, which is a warrior as well. There are options for backups now for that deck, and I think Riku as well being part of it is like, if you've got a backup and had to play off of Riku, cool, search for the Riku, do that. If you don't, then that's fine, you can still just play a Mog 6 and get value out of it guaranteed. Like, there's this, it introduces, like, even as a one of, like, I don't know if you would play this more than a 2 of, but as a one of, this just introduces a lot of versatility into the Warriors deck.
Yet another diverse tool for its already well-equipped toolbox,
And, well, next up we have the final card in Earth, and the final card we'll be discussing in this video, which is Luca. Aphmau in Earth. There we go.
Earthmau.
Okay.
It's honestly pretty good. I quite like it. I like it for a Twins Rydia style deck, right? Because you're guaranteed to find one of them almost always if you've got 9 in your deck.
Well,
I'm cool with it.
I don't think as well. It's funny you say that because I actually think Earth is a really good basis for Archfiends. And most of them cost 2. So, you know, not a terrible thing to be able to make sure that you've got something off of like Warp Golbez or, you know, or something like that as well. Like lots you can do. Good stuff for Rydia. That's pretty much it, isn't it? Well, yeah. Anybody got anything to add with this one?
Not for this, no.
No, I mean, the tap effect is pretty rubbish, but the entry effect is rather good. I'm sure there will be a place for this. And, nothing major to add after that, though, really.
No. Right, so we will see everybody else in Lightning and Water. Thanks very much.